You know, as gardeners, we all have that spot that's just really kind of difficult to garden, and I'm standing on one of those, a parking strip. I'm with Lindsay, and Lindsay, what is the organization you're with?
I'm with the Regional Water Providers Consortium.
And so with that, you want us to conserve water, and parking strips are usually planted in lawns, and that does take a lot of water.
It does, particularly in the summer months,
Yeah.
and you know, grass is beautiful, but it's difficult to maintain, and of course it's really difficult to water. And there's other options that are really aesthetically beautiful that bring out textures and colors and that just, you know, don't require a whole lot of water.
Right. You know, I think we always want to make our lawns look beautiful or the front of our houses look beautiful, and sometimes it is difficult. So why would lawn not be a good choice for us as homeowners for this kind of situation?
Well, I don't think it's a bad choice. I think it's really an individual choice. But the difficult part of maintaining a parking strip is you have to drag a hose out, you have to set your sprinkler, and if you drive down any street during the summer, you see the sprinkler, you know, watering mostly the curb or the driveway or the street. So it's difficult to maintain. It's hard to water. There's water-wise plants that one could put in this area that would save between 30 and 50% of the amount of water. In the summertime, that's particularly important because that's when we're using 2 to 3 times the amount of water in other times of the year. And now's a really good time, fall, to think about perhaps minimizing your lawn and converting it into a water-wise or a water-efficient landscape.
Lindsay, you know, everyone wants to be green and help out and conserve water, and so we do have to water this area because it is our responsibility.
Yes, the parking strip is, you know, a public space, but it's the homeowner's responsibility to maintain this area.
And I think on your website you have all kinds of tips, so we can go to that website, go to Garden Time, or go to your website and get tips for outside and inside.
Right, we've got a great website, conserveh2o.org, and there's tips for indoor water conservation, outdoor tips for outdoor water conservation, just a whole lot of information for the homeowner.
Well, we're going to go over and talk to a gardener who has turned this parking strip into a lovely garden. We'll be right there.
Okay.
This is a beautiful parking strip, and it is the garden of Kim Picorni from the Oregonian, and this is just a great parking strip garden.
I've tried.
I think you succeeded.
It's an experiment. I started about a year and a half ago and wanted to find plants that were different, a little bit different than what people normally think as drought tolerant, so that they can see the variety. And I get a lot of people that come over to get inspiration.
Oh, I bet your neighborhood is going to have little parking strip gardens pop up all over the place.
I hope so. That's the point.
So what would the first steps be if we wanted to do something like this at home?
Well, I had learned from Morris Horn at Joy Creek Nursery that the most important thing is good drainage. So take quarter 10 gravel, and that's important that you use quarter 10 rather than quarter minus. And dig that in along with some compost to prepare the soil, and that gives it a lot of drainage that you need, and it also mulch with the gravel, and it keeps the water in, the moisture in, keeps out the weeds, and protects the plants from rot, which is much more important with these drought-tolerant plants than cold hardiness, believe it or not.
Ah, so that agave just looks gorgeous, and it'll live longer. Like, I couldn't put that in another part of my garden because I know it'll just rot.
Absolutely. And things like the Weesia, and I've got a prickly pear. And,
so,
yeah, definitely.
But there's other plants here that I know that are in a lot of people's garden, like this witch hazel, and that's just getting to be witch hazel season. So what a great plant to put in this kind of garden.
That was a surprise to me. That was a definite experiment, and it has worked out so well. The rest of the garden I did not water at all this summer.
It was hot.
The witch hazels maybe about 3 times, which even then that's not a big deal. It doesn't take a lot of water. It's not. It was very much of a surprise for me.
Ah, and I saw you also have some native plants, like you have the madrone and the arbutus, and so a lot of gardens can't take those because they'll just die with all the summer water we do.
Absolutely, and there's so many different Arctostaphylos, or besides our native manzanita, different sizes. So I think that it's important when you're designing and picking plants for a strip that you use things that don't spill over and that people are not going to run into with their cars or even walk into.
Oh, sure.
You know, it's important not to get them to go over the sidewalk and to keep them in proportion to the space.
And you were saying that this winter this garden did really well, which is, for a young garden, that's great.
It did amazingly well. The only thing I lost was a strawberry tree, which I think it was because it wasn't established well enough. So, you know, you need a couple of years before they really, you know, their root system gets down there and they get established.
Right. Well, if you have any other questions, go to the water provider's website. There's all those tips about watering, saving water inside and outside, and go to your blog, which we love. We read it all the time at Garden Time. So.
Yeah, I kind of overdo talking about this, but it's something I want people to know about.
Well, thank you so much. It was really great to see you.
Thanks, Judy.